Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Sane.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time of 2025.
That's true.
Happy New Year, Chad.
Happy New Year, Christopher.
Yes, I am Chris Zane.
And I'm Chad Lee.
Yes, thank you guys for joining us this week. We greatly appreciate it. It is the first episode of 2025. Episode, what are we on now? Is it 114?
Yep.
So thank each and every one of you that's ever tuned in through any of those episodes. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media. But yeah, we're here, man. It's happening.
It is.
This is the episode.
Yep.
We're here.
It is
Monday.
It's
fucking Monday.
It's
and
good
I already
that we're
got
doing
us
it
demonetized.
on Monday because it is Black Monday.
Yes, Black Monday.
The
People have
infamous
lost their jobs.
Term for the NFL. There'll probably be more coming down the pipe soon.
Yeah, I was surprised there wasn't more. There was a few that I was like, I can't believe they're gonna keep rolling the dice.
Yep. Doug Peterson got the axe.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into it.
Oh,
Don't you start giving away all the headlines there, dude.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
revved up.
it was a good weekend of football.
Yeah.
How was your weekend, sir?
It was pretty good, man. Saturday did some running around. It was kind of poopy out Saturday. We did get some snow, cold. I actually drove up out of the fog into Coal Creek Canyon to buy a shelf for the practice space.
Nice.
Yeah, it was weird. All of a sudden, I just kept driving up, and it got really bad. And then all of a sudden, I came out of the fog, and it was sunny.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, weird.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool,
I met
man.
this guy up at the Canyon Tavern on Coal Creek Tavern or Coal Creek Canyon
Where's
Road.
Coal Creek at? Where's that at?
You basically cut through. Where did I go? I got off at like 36 in Sheridan and took 88. You just go all the way out, and you go past Colorado Road 93, and then you just start going up into the mountains.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I got over there, met the guy, got a cool shelf that we needed for the practice space because the new people moved in this weekend, so we have our new roommates finally.
Sweet.
We're actually featuring them this month on the podcast.
Oh,
look
nice.
at that.
That's perfect.
That's how you do it.
Yep.
But yeah, so I went to do that just so we could kind of organize our area a little bit more, and then we just kind of took it easy Saturday night. Sunday we went to the game. I was telling Chad before the show, I threw my back out getting bacon out of the oven, slipped a disc, and I walk like an old man. Stopped at my parents' house today because my mom made some frittata, and she was like, come get some frittata. I don't know if you've ever messed with frittata.
What's that again?
It's basically like an egg pie, more or less.
Oh.
It's like it's
kind of like a quiche?
Basically.
Okay.
It's kind of like a quiche.
I think I've had one before.
But yeah, she's like, come get some. So I was like, all right. And I stopped by, and my brother saw me. He lives in the same neighborhood, my brother David. And he's like, I saw someone walking into the house. He's like, actually came over and stopped by. He's like, I was wondering who it was. He's like, it looked like Dad, but he'd put on some pounds. I was like, dude, it's me. I was
That's
like,
a good one.
I am walking like bent over, like hunched to one side, in a lot of pain, but it is what it is.
Man.
I got to go do snow removal tonight.
Damn.
Because one of the guys was sick. I offered my services because I'm been doing it forever. So one of the main guys is sick, so I was like, I'll go do it. Because it's sitting down. It's the standing up and walking that's excruciating right now. So other than that, the game was fun. We played the Chiefs.
Yep.
I'm not gonna rub it in. It is what it is.
Yep.
We were playing second and third stringers. The Broncos did what they should have done the last 2 weeks and seal the deal to get into the playoffs. But, we had to back in a little bit, but I'll take it, 10-7, you can't go wrong. I said they were going to win 7 games before the season, and hey, they beat that by a lot. Yeah. So I will take that. But, other than that, I'm trying to think what else we did. Oh, man. I thought we started watching some new stuff, but we've kind of got to that point where we're trying to find new stuff to watch.
Oh, I can give you a few tips. We have gotten kind of desperate because we kind of ran out of a few things as well, so we started dipping into Apple TV again.
Okay.
Yeah.
They do have some good shows.
They really do. It gets overlooked a lot because it's just like, oh, there's another thing to subscribe to. But
we already are. We don't watch it
Did
enough.
you ever watch Shrinking? I think I told you.
We just started that.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, we just started that.
So
We're like
great.
3 episodes in.
You used to watch Scrubs, right?
Yeah.
you see so much of Bill Lawrence in it, like his touch on it, And so we started. She never really watched Scrubs, and so like we used to watch King of Queens to fall asleep to and stuff. That's what we're gonna start doing now is watching Scrubs because we like Shrinking so much.
They're coming back, I guess, with most of the original cast.
It's like a total like
a reboot.
Yeah, reboot with same cast and everything. So I'm wondering how they're gonna do it.
Yeah, we'll see if it's any good.
But yeah, Shrinking's really good. Harrison Ford's just the best in it.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember that he was in it, but like the first time he popped up, I was like, oh, I forgot he was in the show. It's super funny.
Yeah, but he's really good in it.
Yeah, we just got to the part where he like scolded him for being like a piece of shit for the first time. He's like, you got to pull it together, man. Yeah. And I was like, this show's pretty damn good.
Dude, it's good. It's really good, man. Yeah, I'm really. And then if you remember Dr. Cox's ex-wife from Scrubs, the brunette, she does a great job in that movie or in that show. She's just hilarious in it. It's a good one. But then we started watching Silo. You ever seen that one? It's
no.
got Tim Robbins in it and Common. It's pretty good. It's like an apocalyptic kind of post-apocalyptic.
Good old Common.
Yeah,
he's been around a while.
I know.
He's acting there for a bit.
He's always acting, and he is in this one. It's pretty crazy where it's like set, and it's nuts because you don't really know why they're underground. You don't know what happened because somehow or another the rebels erased all the history, and so it's kind of like a good it's.
Deleted the hard drives.
Yeah, that's what they say they did.
Shit, we don't know anything.
It's like another metaphor for the allegory in the cave. You've heard of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the real story? Are we being lied to?
Yeah.
It's a lot of that.
Is it bad outside or are we just used to being in here?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So it's a lot of that, but we watched, I think, 1 or 2 episodes of it.
That's on Apple TV?
Apple TV.
Okay.
Yep.
We did watch the new Beetlejuice.
Oh,
Beetlejuice.
Nice, yeah.
It was all right. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was weird how much they focused on the dead dad. Like it was weird.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we were.
Meryl was like blown away by how much, because I was like, all right, like it was halfway through the movie, and I was like, why are we still talking about this, dude?
I really
was like, this is crazy.
Well, I thought it was going to be perfect in the beginning. They just kind of kill him off. Then it's like a big slap in his face because if people don't know, he got in trouble for a bunch of very, very
pictures
bad
of youngins on his computer type things.
Yeah. So to bring his character back, granted it's just his character, that's still kind of like a little taboo. And yeah, they did kind of like
at a certain point, it's almost like they were glorifying him, and I was like, "This is weird." Because like, I get it. I mean, at least, I mean, spoiler alert, he gets eaten by a shark, so like most of his top half is missing.
That was kind of
so you don't see his face, but they do show it a few times. Like they make like a weird claymation part, which I thought that was still kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I was like, at least they're wrapping it up. But then it just kept happening, and after a while, I was like, "We're like halfway through, and we're still,
still
popping up."
But
it was pretty good.
Michael Keaton's just a legend, man. He did so good with it. It doesn't even seem like any time's passed since the last time he played him.
No, yeah, he did fall right back into the role. It was nice. And then it was cool seeing Winona Ryder taking back the Lydia Dietz.
Yep.
But yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was. I wouldn't say it's like a great movie by any means, but it was what you expected.
Yeah,
it was entertaining.
I would imagine I think they're gonna do a third one, which would be the Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool.
You wrap it up. Yeah, that would make sense. I like where you went with that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
You just said it.
Yep. That's
You're smart.
Cool.
You're a smart one.
There was something that we watched over the week. I finally showed Hannah Speed Racer.
Oh, the live action one.
Yeah,
that one is it's weird because I don't know if it's like a good movie, but it's just a wild watch.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
It's so visually pleasing because of all the lights and the craziness of it. But I did forget how silly it was.
It is but when you think about the TV show, he's got like a little monkey sidekick man. Like, there's no way to do live action like that.
Yep.
And make it not weird.
That's what I didn't have a problem with, because it's like you just kind of have to laugh along with it. It's just silly. Remember that movie I told you? I'm just already off of that. The Substance. Remember that?
Yeah. Speaking of which, Demi Moore won a Golden Globe.
Golden Globe from that. Yeah. Crazy.
And she talked about how it reinvigorated her career and everything. We do need to watch it. We haven't watched that yet. I do want to check it out.
To watch it, man. That's so strange.
Another thing I did watch. This is sports related. Started watching Cinna on Netflix.
Oh, sweet! I can't wait to watch it.
Very good. Soundtrack is awesome. It's like a bunch of like sweet 70s rock and roll.
Oh, sick.
Like T-Rex and stuff have already been happening. Like all kinds of cool music. And then I watched like a behind the scenes thing of how they filmed it. And the majority of it is not like them actually driving cars. Like it just shows them like in a sound studio. Like they were doing this one where it was raining and you just see like he's sitting in this little cutaway of the car, like pretending to drive and stuff. And like there's this plastic and you're like, there's no way this looks real. Like it just looks like somebody made it. Looks like a student film thing. Yeah. And then they cut to it when it's like in the movie and you're like, whoa, that looks insane. Like I can't believe it looks real. Realistic. Yeah, it's very realistic.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it is very cool so far. I think I got like I'm into episode 2 and I'm like partway through episode 2, but it's pretty good.
Nice.
I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Yes, I plan on watching that after the Aaron Rodgers thing. I have gotten
Did
almost
you get farther
the first way through
I'm doing 10-minute chunks.
Yeah, I just kind of been putting it on, and man, it's just wild, dude. He's just so self-involved.
He's something else.
Boy, he is, man. And then he goes in the last week of the season and throws 4 TDs.
Yeah, and he almost killed Devontae Adams in that stupid play.
Idiotic.
It was the goofiest thing I've ever seen.
It was the stupidest play ever. It's like, and you try to throw this like reverse kind of like double pass thing, and then he just
you could tell it's supposed to go downfield, and it was covered, but then he threw it back to Devontae Adams, and he just got lit up right as he caught the ball.
You think Devontae would be like, dude, just throw it away, man. You just had to.
He just tried to kill me.
And it got the ball knocked out of his hand.
I know we're buddies, but damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, how was the rest of your week? And we kind of conglomerated them together. But
no, we're just shooting the shit. Saturday, what did we do? We just played a bunch of cards. She got me, like I said, a bunch of new playing cards, so we played some cards. Then Sunday, we finally took down all of our Christmas stuff. I have finally ordered, after maybe 12 years of not having a console or a gaming system, I ordered a PS5.
Dude,
it's downstairs. I just have to set it up tonight. I've got the TV down there.
Oh man,
that front room's gonna be my game room.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to move up to that second level of gaming. I'm still playing on the Xbox One, but you haven't had a system for a while.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. She didn't really want. She just, she's had boyfriends in the past. That were, it's like just all they do is gaming and stuff. So she's kind of didn't want that. And I'm always one where I'm like, I'd rather work out than do that. But when it's gonna be cold as shit and we're not gonna be able to do anything outside here coming up like tomorrow, and so those are perfect times for me. I'm stuck inside and it's cool too because when we go back home and visit her nephew who loves to play Madden and NCAA football,
finally
we
able to
can
compete.
play online and we can do that. So.
Yeah, and that's what we do with her nephew too. It is a nice way. I mean, she could even probably get on a headset and hang out with you guys while you play.
Yeah, and she used to really love to play Grand Theft Auto, basically just pick up the hookers and kill them and stuff.
Well, that's what you do.
That's what you gotta do.
You use the hookers, give them your money, and then you rob them of your money back. That's what you do.
Wholesome fun.
Good wholesome fun for a 13-year-old.
So that was one game that she used to play back. So I had ordered just the one controller, and then when she told me she wanted to do that, I was like, okay, I'll order another controller.
Yeah, you might as well. Yep. Well, you'll realize too now with everything, you got to charge them and stuff.
Yeah,
one will die while you're playing, and then you're like, oh no, I don't want to be tethered with a wire.
Oh yeah,
and then you have a backup. So
I'm gonna try to order the charging port for it. It looks pretty cool because you could just use the USB-C cord, I think, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the charging
that's
port
your cable now.
Badass.
Yeah, it is nice when you get the little thing to set in there. Yeah, I want to order one here in the next couple months, probably after I get my the old tax returns or something. But it'd be nice to get a new one because now they have I think it's PlayStation Plus is you can pay for that. It's a monthly subscription, but you get new games every month.
Nice. Sweet.
So that's what I do. So because games are expensive. Dude.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense why you're paying $70 for something that's digital when you don't even get a box.
I know.
You don't even get a manual.
I don't understand it.
Tangible.
But
you got to pay the same amount.
I don't it's like when we went to Spotify instead of CDs. I was really happy about it. And DVDs, there's people, dude. I knew people that had a whole room full of DVD collections. Look at the space this takes up, man.
Yeah, now you can get a whole Blu-ray collection for $30 on.
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
people can't sell them.
My Amazon Prime, I've got tons of movies on there. My Apple account, you just buy them and then they're just there.
Yeah, it does suck though that it's gone away from tangible stuff, but that's the world we live in. Man. What are you gonna do?
I do want to buy a record player. I used to have one, but
that is one thing.
Loft area up there, I've always wanted to turn that into because the sound would echo
listening
really well.
area.
Yeah, just kind of like sit up there and listen to classical music.
You can get into smoking cigars and just smoke
that's
cigars
it,
up here.
man. Yeah.
Just
That's what I'm gonna do.
think of that. That's no big deal.
My buddy Rob got really into it when I went back. I visited with him. He's the one that his son, I gave the Michael Jordan card to, and he got really into cars because they had like a cigar, I don't know, lounge there in Parsons for a while.
Oh yeah, there's a few of those around here.
Yeah, but I mean, this was kind of surprising that Parsons.
That is weird.
But of course, it closed down. There's no business that lasts like longer than a year. But he even had like a humidor for it and everything. So I was like, damn. So yeah, I might have to try that.
Yeah, I've never really gotten it, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Hey, but you do have plans tonight, so
let's
roll through this, dude.
Let's do it. It's time to get into the headlines, and there was a bunch of happenings this week. I mean, the NFL season came to an end. So
sad, man. I can't believe it, dude. We were in preseason. We're like, oh, we can't wait for football, and then
now it's over.
It's nuts, man. It flies by.
It does fly by.
Yep.
Meryl always gets bummed when the season starts. She's like, it just ended, but I'm like, it's gonna go by so fast.
It does. It really flies by.
So yeah, the NFL season is over. Everybody's getting hurt in the NBA. There's a bunch of headlines to get into, and then we are going to have David Droegemeir from the Locked On Charge Myers. I was so focused on getting his name right, I combined Chargers in his name. The Locked On Chargers podcast joining us. He has joined us before, so it'll be cool to get him on. We'll talk about the AFC West returning to dominance as they lock up pretty much half of the AFC playoff picture.
Pretty much 3 teams.
Yeah, so
pretty crazy.
We'll get into that, but right now it is time to fly through the NFL.
Let's do it.
Are you ready for some football?
You better be. Because we talked about it last week. It's going to end soon, and it's happening. We've got about a month and a half left.
Wild and wacky wild card weekend is here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It is I was telling Chris before the podcast, I think it's my favorite week of other than maybe week 1 when everything's unpredictable.
Yeah.
But wild card weekend is almost better than the divisional round and conference weekend because it's so unpredictable. And there's more games,
There is more games. We've got a Monday night game. We've got a bunch of stuff going on. There is a Monday night game, right?
Or no, there's 6 games.
6 games, yeah.
I said 7.
It's okay.
But we'll run through this. Now the playoff picture is set. On Saturday, to start it off, we're going to run through this in Mountain Time, so everybody just needs to get on Mountain Time. It is the best time to watch sports.
Yeah. Mountain Time's the best time.
2:30 Mountain Time on CBS. We got the Chargers versus the Texans.
And Los Angeles is favored in this one by 3 points.
The Texans are slumping, man.
They are slumping. They're not coming in on a hot start. The
They're
Chargers
on a losing streak.
Are
not on a losing streak, but they have lost some recently.
Yeah, they're just not doing that great, unfortunately. But the Chargers are on a little bit of an uptick. The weirdo Jim Harbaugh has led them back to prominence once again. And Justin Herbert didn't have a crazy, season this year. And we'll talk more about this with David, but I mean, kind of paltry in terms of what he's used to. I mean, he did set the rookie record that still stands to this day with 31 touchdowns in his rookie season. But in this season, 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions though. Guy was super efficient.
Very efficient.
But yeah, only 3,870 yards. CJ Stroud, sophomore slump though.
Yeah, big time sophomore slump. The interior line has just been decimated. They've been decimated wide receiver. They've had a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, so they're really trying to patch together their last little effort to make a playoff push. For the Chargers though, and we'll get into it with David, but man, Ladd McConkey sets the Chargers
rookie record
with I think receptions and receiving yards, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah. He had 82 receptions, 1,149 yards, and 7 touchdowns from Mr. McConkey.
Pretty awesome.
Cool name.
Those Georgia boys, man. Brock Bowers and
both of them balled out this year.
All right, and then the night game. What I'm looking to is Al Michaels, the old grumpy grandpa.
Yeah, what is he going to complain about this game?
Can't complain about this one. You got the Ravens could blow him out, and then he's going to complain about that.
Yeah, but we'll be hearing about what he's got money on the whole time.
Yeah. So 6 p.m. on Prime Video, you get the Steelers at Baltimore. It was just a couple weeks ago where Baltimore beat them by, I think it was like 15 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so that'll be the Saturday night game. Then Sunday, Chris's Broncos are in the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, going up against the Bills.
The Bills,
at 11 a.m. on CBS.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see what the odds are in those games. Baltimore's favored by 10, Buffalo by 8.5. So, they are expecting not the best games, but that Ravens-Steelers game is basically a divisional game, and it's going to be a knockdown drag-out, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think you guys are going to give them a run for your money.
Hey, they're there. They do have a really good defense. Nick Benito's tied for third in sacks overall with 13.5. I don't think he's tied. I think he actually has just third by himself. And then the Broncos are leading the league in sacks. So if you can pressure Allen and, keep him
it's almost
contained.
impossible to bring him down, though, man.
That's the thing, though. He's bigger than both of our biggest pass rushers. So.
Stick one of those, I know what you did last summer, like fish hooks in him, and he's probably still going to keep running,
still probably get 5 yards afterwards. But
all right, the afternoon game, probably one of the better ones. 2:30 Eastern time or 2:30 Mountain time on Fox, Green Bay and in Philadelphia.
Big news though, Christian Wilkins is out for the year, torn ACL.
That is a defensive lineman, but Christian Watson.
Watson.
Yep.
Sorry,
Yep.
my bad.
Yep.
Christian Watson did
Pretty
tear his
unfortunate.
ACL last game. So and both Malik Willis and Jordan Love ended up leaving that game with injuries, so they are kind of touch and go on that.
And they're on a losing streak. They have not been playing very. They just lost to the Bears. Not a good way to end the season. Then Sunday night, really good game here. Washington Commanders at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That would be 6 p.m. on Peacock or NBC.
Whatever you want to.
Yep. That's a pretty intriguing one there. Jaden Daniels he didn't quite get a little banged up, but they just kind of got a little.
He's feeling it.
He just played the first series, and so they knew they didn't really have to play him the whole game, so they pulled him out. But I think that could really be a good one because
it could, for
Mike
sure.
Edwards, I don't know if he came back in that game, but he got hurt. But they're already hurting at safety with Antoine Winfield out. So
yeah. And then Monday night, we got a really good game.
This should be awesome.
Yeah, the Rams taking on the Vikings, number 4 against number 5. Minnesota is favored by 1.5, but they did just lose a heartbreaker Sunday night to the
they got blown out.
The Lions. They got blown out pretty much.
Sam Darnold waited till the last game of the season and the most important game of the season
to have his stinker.
Yeah, he really hadn't had a bad game all year. Till that one.
No, Aaron Glenn definitely deserves a game ball for his defensive strategy for that game. They had the Vikings out of sorts, and they ended up beating them. What was it, 31-9?
Yeah.
And the Vikings basically went from winning the NFC possibly to 5th in the playoff seeding.
Crazy.
So,
you gotta love football, man. I love the NFL. The Rams, they lost Blake Corum. He had a broken forearm.
Oh,
yep.
That almost rhymes. Blake Corum with a broken forearm.
He does. Good wit. Poet, and he didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it. But
that'll be on ESPN, of course, on Monday night with Troy and Joe Buck.
Good old Joe Buck.
All right, let's get to the Black Monday fires.
Yes, Black Monday is here. The Jags fire Peterson, but they keep GM Trent Baalke. The team finished 4-13 this season. They have lost 18 of their past 23 games.
Damn,
dude, that's rough. And they did supposedly have the second coming of John Elway, whoever you want to call it. Basically is what Trevor Lawrence was slated to be, and he has not panned out that way, and they're blaming Peterson. So
they do have a good wide receiver there at Brian Thomas, so there is some promise.
Brian Thomas Jr. broke out at the end of the year.
Brian Thomas and some promise.
Yeah, there, dude. Look at you. You're a poet. You didn't even know it, dude. You might as well start a rap group.
That's what I was saying. And then, dude, Tank Bigsby, man, he's a hell of a running back. I think,
so they've got some pieces.
Better than ETN. Then we're going to keep going down the line. Gerard Mayo, like he said, out in New England. That was like last night. They didn't even wait till after Sunday.
No, pretty much once the game was over, they're like, yeah, we'll see you later. So there's a lot of rumblings that maybe New England already has their head coach in their back pocket, ready to go. A lot of people are leaning towards Mike Vrabel, supposedly. But yeah, Gerard Mayo didn't get much of a chance out there. I mean, rookie quarterback who they didn't want him to start, basically going in with, what's his name? The quarterback for them was
Drake May.
Not Drake May.
Joe Milton.
Not Joe Milton. Who started this year?
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
Thank you. Man, he was supposed to start with Jacoby Brissett. The front office didn't want him to roll Drake May out. They eventually had to. Drake May looks pretty good.
Yeah, he does.
But
and so does Joe Milton.
Yeah,
Joe Milton looked awesome.
Yeah, Bazooka Joe is what they're calling him.
Oh, nice. What I was trying to remember all day yesterday, and I should have just looked it up. Didn't he play at Tennessee last year?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
He was a Tennessee quarterback last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gerard Mayo, I think, got screwed. And did you see the weird thing with Gronk on where they cut him off
on Twitter, but I didn't watch it.
He starts going in on them, and they're like, we got to go to commercial.
Damn.
And it was almost like maybe Mr. Goodell made a phone call and was like, cut him off.
I can see it. I I handed it to Gronk for like speaking the truth.
Yeah, he tried, and nope, they shut him down. But yeah.
All right, and then the Bengals fired DC Lou Anarumo after 6 seasons, a 9-8 season, and this comes after the Bengals missed the playoffs. We're just going to touch on the Bengals for a minute here because there's kind of a lot to cover. Ever since the Bengals said the words Burrowhead, they have lost to KC in the AFC Championship game in 2022. In 2023, mathematically eliminated in Week 17 by losing to KC. And then in 2024, eliminated because Denver won in Week 18 versus KC's backups. So, comes back around.
Yeah. They are struggling on the struggle bus. But, I mean, Burrow did basically have to outscore his defense every week, and sometimes he could not. He basically had one of the best seasons for a quarterback on a team that did not make the playoffs.
It's insane to think that the Bengals had the leader. I do think Trey Henderson should get Defensive Player of the Year.
Because he moved into first on Sunday, didn't he?
I want to say it was 14.5 sacks, something like that. But I mean, the guy's got a motor. I almost chose him for my daily dog. I mean, he's just a beast. So they had the league leader in sacks, league leader in passing yards, and I believe touchdowns too with Joe Burrow. And then Jamar Chase got the triple crown, and then your team still doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's rough, and somebody is gonna have to go down for it, and they're pinning it on the DC out there. So Lou Anarumo, a lot of people are thinking he's not going to be unemployed for long. He will probably be picked up pretty quickly, according to Adam Schefter. Last but not least, this one was the biggest surprise, I think, for everybody, especially after all the stuff was recirculating with the off-season hard knocks and whatnot. But the Giants are rolling back with what they got, keeping Brian Dable and Joe Schoen, I think it's Shane actually, Joe Shane. Surprisingly, after a 3-14 season where everything went wrong, Drew Lock screwed them after they screwed him. It's a very entertaining thing, and I guess we're gonna see how it's gonna play out next year because they're rolling it back, man.
Yeah, and I can get behind bringing Dable back. I mean, he's got a great offensive mind. He was originally with the Bills when they, had, I think it was with the Bills.
Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and he's got
a lot of people credited him for turning Allen around.
Yeah, for sure. And it was the GM. It was Joe Shane that I don't really support because he was the one that let Saquon go, wanted to pay Daniel Jones, whether it was the ownership or not. I think that's the wrong move. But Brian Dable's great offensive mind. I think he will show some promise there. Depends on which quarterback they get back there. That's going to be the question. But if you look at the way the draft order falls now, the Patriots don't need a quarterback. So the Titans have the first pick, then it's the Patriots. So you're going to think that maybe Travis Hunter goes to Tennessee. Then the Patriots could pass on Shedeur. Shedeur may still go to New York.
It is possible. Because, where did the Raiders are 5th now, right?
Yeah, they fell pretty far back.
That sucks.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Man.
Yeah, the Raiders going to Raider.
Definitely. Well, you want to talk about some records being broken. I wanted to talk about some bonuses being achieved. Did you hit all those records?
I'll just hit a couple records that I thought were pretty cool. It was Brock Bowers for the Raiders. He just hit the rookie record for catches in a rookie season with 110. It's pretty awesome. Malik Neighbors had taken it, but that was before Brock Bowers played. So Malik Neighbors and him were right there. I mean, just the rookies this year, it was insane.
Yeah, they balled out.
4 or 5 of them that finished with over 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, Bo Nix almost got close to the rookie record for passing touchdowns. I think he ended up with 29, but
Still pretty damn
the
good.
most for a rookie in the Broncos uniform. So good for him. But what else you got?
Let's see. Well, Mike Evans, I know you're going to talk about this bonus, but he did tie Jerry Rice for 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah, and he's also the only to do it as a rookie on. Mm-hmm. Jerry had a little bit of a break in there to begin his career and then took off. Mike Evans has just been money since he got in the league.
He's really good.
Pretty impressive stuff.
Yep, but I think that's all I got right now.
Okay, all right. Well, speaking of Mike Evans, he was one of the guys who did hit a big bonus this weekend. He needed 5 receptions and 85 yards to earn $3 million. He got 9 receptions and 89 yards to get that $3 million, as well as break the record. Geno Smith needed 185 plus passing yards with the Seahawks to earn $2 million. He did so with 223.
He ended up with the $6 million.
Yeah, he got all of his bonuses, I think.
Because they needed a win to get to 10 wins. And then I think it was a couple other stipulations where he
I think he had like completion percentage or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good for Geno Smith.
Von Miller got a bonus with getting another sack.
Yep. 1 sack was all he needed for $1.5 million. He gets that with the Bills.
Yep.
Other ones, Derrick Henry needed a 1 touchdown for a $500,000 bonus. He got 2. Cortland Sutton for the Broncos, they made sure he got his. He needed 82 receiving yards. He got 98, and that got him $500,000. And then a couple more. Calais Campbell, he's got to be one of the longest tenured defensive guys right now.
In the league a long time.
He's out of Denver too. Went to high school here. He needed 1 sack for $300,000. He got that. J.K. Dobbins for the Chargers needed 58 rushing yards for a $150,000 bonus. And then lastly, Bengals Mike Gesicki needed 3 receiving yards to make $125,000. He got 68. So. Yeah. Good for him. So those guys are making money.
That's how you motivate those guys.
Yeah, that's what Week 18's all about, basically. Right. There's not much to play for, but for some teams. But yeah, let's move on. Should we get into the NCAA?
You want to hit the daily dogs?
Oh shit, yeah, we should do that. That's what we do. Sir. Let's hit those daily dogs.
Right.
Daily dogs out.
That's right.
Different sports, so you can take over.
All right, I'll take over. Give me 1 second here while I get to my tab. So I picked Jahmyr Gibbs as my daily dog. He was, I guess, motivated, so to speak, by his quick conversation with, oh my God, why am I missing his name right now? I'm blanking out.
Describe him.
The running back for the Lions, the best ever.
Oh, Barry Sanders.
Jesus. Barry Sanders, yes, had a quick conversation with Jahmyr Gibbs before the game, basically telling him, go get it. And Jahmyr Gibbs did get it. 4 touchdowns, had a season high, 139 yards rushing on 23 carries, scored a career high 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, and 1 receiving. He gained 95 of his 139 rushing yards on 4 explosive runs while registering just a 34.8% success rate overall. The majority of his production came from under center, including all 4 of his explosive runs. He went off and was basically why they won, because in a game that everybody had pegged for a shootout, the game of the year, I think the over-under was like 55.5 or something like that. It was super high. They didn't get there as the Lions defense basically came to play, and the Vikings offense did not. Sam Darnold had his worst game of the year, which we talked about earlier. And yeah, they shut him down. They played man coverage on 66.7% of the dropbacks, the highest mark by a defense in a game this season. So they just manned him up and said, go beat us, and they couldn't do it. And they only scored 9 points in that game.
Jahmyr Gibbs just so fast, man. When there's those plays where he has to like catch the corner or the edge if he gets the edge, he's gone.
Well, the thing, too, is his vision. You watch him, it's almost like he gets the ball, and he's already computed his best line to get out from.
Like that touchdown. Well, I mean, I know we had 4 of them, but there was one where, like, there's nothing there, but he just kind of slithers his way kind of through the lineman and then just, like, is untouched. It's like, how did he even see that was going to be open, you know?
Yeah, so he basically sealed the deal. The Lions get the first NFC win, I guess. I mean, they are first in the NFC, so to speak. They won their division. First time in their history as a team. But that is why Jahmyr Gibbs is my daily.
Daily.
That's a good pick.
So yes, Chad, fill up your coffee and then tell us about your daily dog.
Daily dog is the man that's been balling out for the Nuggets the past 2 games, putting them on his back like he always has. But in these last 2 games, I mean, really, I'm just pulling a sample size because the whole year he's just been having an MVP year. Mr. Nikola Jokic, the Serbian nightmare.
Yeah, basically.
Yes. So starting Friday night, they had a back-to-back against the Spurs, and Jokic, here's his box score. He went 41 points, 2 steals, 9 assists, 18 rebounds. Just amazing. They lost barely to the Spurs. I've heard it was kind of like Michael Malone kind of making a late game kind of mistake. I'm not really sure about that one. I was watching Speed Racer at that time, so I missed it.
It's tough.
Yep. But, Nikola Jokic is just balling out 41 points in that game. He had a finish with a +7 in the plus-minus category. Then the very next night, on Saturday night, they got their revenge, went to overtime with San Antonio. It was 122-111. Jokic finished with 46 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. The dude is just doing it all.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've been talking about it for all season, just what this guy's done to basically, like, if you took him away, you'd probably be talking about the worst team in the West.
They really would. In that game, too, Michael Porter Jr. had 28 points. He's really been improving his game quite a bit. Jamal Murray, 6 for 17, 13 points. Just, the dude is hot and cold so bad.
Yeah, it is crazy how up and down he is this year. Not very fun to watch. Probably not very fun to deal with as a teammate, especially Jokic, we've talked about it a little bit before we got going. It seems like he's getting kind of fed up with everything.
Yeah, it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He had some comments where he said, if we were playing overseas, if we were to be playing like this, your paycheck wouldn't be as high. So, I kind of like that. And these guys should kind of take heed to that because, even though that's not the way it is in the NBA, you get paid the same no matter how you play. But, they should start, taking heed to that because Jokic is doing it all and it's getting frustrating because, it's just, you hate to see in that game, you look at Christian Brown. Christian Brown's been really reliable, but Saturday night, he was a -15 when he was on the floor. Finished under 10 points, like maybe the first time this season.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He is doing really well in the 6-man role. I'm surprised at how well things are going with Westbrook starting. It is a different team out there.
Yep.
Him bringing the energy. Apparently, the starters need energy. I didn't know that, but I guess they do. So it's been nice to see that as he's been averaging like over 20 points anytime he starts, more or less, I think at this point.
Yep.
But yeah, he's playing out of his mind. But yeah, it's unfortunate to see Jokic out there just doing everything.
Doing it all.
And he still barely win.
They got a big game coming up tomorrow night against the Celtics in Boston.
The old Celtics.
We'll see if Jokic can lead them over.
Yes.
One of the best, probably the 3rd best team in the league.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
But we'll get down to the standings and all that here in a little bit. But first, let us get to... Well, let me hit the Daily Dogs one more time for Chad.
That's right.
Daily. Dogs out.
And Nikola Jokic. But yes, let us get into some college football right now as the college football playoff schedule is... Well, the college football playoff is... We're in it.
Where you got the semifinals set.
Yes.
Yep.
Needle
Penn
dick.
State
Needle
looked
dick.
up on Boise State in the challenge last last Tuesday. It's 31-14. Then Ohio State kind of shocked the world last Wednesday by beating Oregon 41-21. Nobody saw that coming. They got the revenge. That one was wild.
The really big mind-blowing game was the double overtime Peach Bowl there with Texas and Arizona State, where at one point I'm pretty sure it was like 24-3 or something like that.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden Arizona State and Cam Scattaboo come storming back.
This dude did it all.
I mean, storming. That play when he hit him down the seam and that DB ripped his helmet off and he just stood up and like mean mugged the side. I was like, I want that guy on my team.
I know. That's what I thought too. I was like, dude, that was cool. And he's like 5'4", man. He's like super short.
He didn't say anything.
Nope.
Just stood up and just stared down the
cold, so stoic face. Just like, you're gonna try that? You're gonna try to rip my helmet off?
Yeah.
I mean, he threw a touchdown or threw a long pass. I don't think it ended up in a touchdown, but it was a long pass. He did it all in that game. Finished with 30 carries, 143 yards, and 2 TDs. Unbelievable. That was a great game.
I mean, that game was over at halftime, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, they tied it.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, we're going to overtime. Like, at one point, Texas had to score to get it to overtime. Like, they were winning the game, and they should have won the game, but, you know, it was a bad decision by the quarterback.
Yeah, Prime even tweeted at Arizona State and said, thank you for representing the Big 12 really well. Keep doing what you're doing. But yeah, and then Notre Dame beat up on Georgia 23-10. That was pretty cool to see.
With 90 yards passing from Riley Leonard.
Yes, pretty nuts. Yeah, and he came from Duke. What a transfer there. So now Thursday, January 9th at 5:30, we got Notre Dame taking on Penn State, a 7 versus a 6 seed, and then Friday, Ohio State versus Texas, 8 versus 5. All of the teams that had byes got knocked out.
Yeah, everyone that won their championship knocked out.
There's been a lot of
big
talks
bummer about that.
That next year they're going to do away with the byes because that was kind of a disadvantage. And then the reseeding of things. I mean, Boise State being a 3, I think they're going to really look at maybe seeding it as the ranking follows. Not so much, oh, you're seeded because you won your conference.
Yeah, I do think you should get something for winning your conference, but I do think that it should also be taken into consideration. I mean, it's much like the NFL at a certain point. Like, you look at what happened to the Vikings. I mean, what did they end up, like 14 or what did they end up? I mean, they had an insane record, and you're going to have somebody that wins their division with a lower
14-3.
Yeah, with a lower record, basically get a leg up on you, which is kind of a bummer. But again, win your games.
The difference is in the NFL, there's a lot more parity to where that's why I like Wild Card Weekend. The Rams could upset the Vikings.
It's very easy.
Very likely.
Yep.
But in the college, the separation between a real 4 seed ranking and like an 8 or a 9 is so high. I mean, look what happened to SMU when they played Penn State. So I think you will see some of these seedings change.
Or Penn State and Boise State.
Yeah,
I mean that game looks closer on paper, but Boise State was outclassed by Penn State for the majority of that game.
And I was pretty happy to see Gente still get a little bit.
What, he got 130?
Yes.
But he did have did he have 2 fumbles?
2 fumbles
yeah, so that's a bummer thing. But I mean, that guy's still going to be really good.
Yep.
We'll see him on Sundays come next year for sure.
Looking forward to it. But semifinals starting on Thursday should be good.
Should be a good.
Right.
Well, let's get into the NBA.
Let's do it.
Right side to Scott. Slam dunk. 4 seconds. 3 seconds left. Why are they not fouling? Jumper Murray.
It reminds me of when Murray was. Let's get into some NBA. Let's get hard in the paint. Anthony Edwards scores a career high 53 in the T-Wolves loss to the Pistons Saturday night, 119-105. Edwards was lights out from 3, 10 3-pointers made, 16 of 31 from the field. Unfortunately for him, on the other side, Cade Cunningham got his season high of 40 and led the Pistons to their 3rd straight win and their 6th in their past 7 games.
Look at the Pistons come around.
Yeah, they're coming back.
Maybe they're feeding off the Lions fire a little bit.
Yeah,
That's cool.
They fired their head coach early this season,
true.
so they've got that little bump going for him.
Good.
But yeah, Anthony Edwards. He's doing good. I still don't know how I feel about him.
Yeah, and if you see some of his comments about the team, they're basically just like, we don't know what we're doing out there. We don't really have an offense. We don't have an identity.
I don't really know what our offense is. And you're like, dude, you can't be saying that halfway through the season.
He just sounds like such a kid when he talks like this. It's like, man, you can't be saying this stuff. It looks so bad.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look good for him. And that's kind of the bummer, because I do feel like if he could kind of pull his shit together, so to speak, he could be the face of the NBA, because the guy is one of the most like freakishly athletic guys right now in the NBA in terms of just what he can do for his size.
Dude, those plays where he gets kind of like bottled up there, like the free throw line, and then just decides to like bounce it off the backboard and then just jump like that. I mean, his athletic ability to jump is like just like Michael Jordan. I mean, the guy's got.
There was the rumors that maybe he is one of Jordan's illegitimate children.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Well, let's get into some more drama. Jimmy Butler got suspended for 7 games for conduct detrimental to the team by Miami. Served out the first game of his suspension as the Heat are blown out by the Jazz, 136-100. That's pretty embarrassing because the Jazz are not good.
No, the Jazz are not good.
No, and
unless you play them in Utah, and then for some reason they're really good.
Yeah, but they return to action tonight against Sacramento. So what's going on is a couple weeks ago, maybe it was like 3 weeks ago, Butler expressed interest that he wants to be traded. Then Pat Riley came out and said, "We're not." This actually dates back to last year's playoff loss. I don't know if you know about this. Yeah, because Butler came out and said, if I had been on the court, then we wouldn't have lost. Well, Pat Riley answered that and said, if you're not on the court, you shouldn't be talking, which is the right thing. I have so much respect for Pat Riley. But
Pat Riley's a dog.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's an OG when it comes to the NBA, man. So there's been tension ever since then, and then after Pat Riley said they're not going to trade Butler, Butler requested a trade formally, and that deemed it detrimental to the team. Then he's getting suspended for 7 games, but the NBA PA are trying to appeal this.
Yeah, they came out and said it's unwarranted and all this stuff. But yeah, everything coming out from the team, and you have Bam Adebayo basically saying we're focused on who's with us now, and basically saying, it's between Jimmy and the management. Eric Spoelstra saying we're just trying to focus on tonight. Yeah. Things aren't looking good for Miami, and this is after 2 years ago they were, taking on the Nuggets for the NBA championship.
Exactly.
And things have fallen off for them, unfortunately, and now it seems like things have soured to the point that Jimmy's got to go.
Yep, he wants out of there.
Yeah, and we'll see where he ends up landing, because he is going to be a good piece for probably a contender. I'm just hoping it's not the Nuggets.
We're thinking it's going to be the Warriors or the Suns.
That'd be scary to see him go to the Warriors.
It really would.
I guess not speaking of anything, I mean, Jimmy Butler did play on the Bulls, so I guess we'll segue there. The Bulls did surprise Derrick Rose, telling him Saturday morning that they will be retiring his number 1 jersey after next season. The Bulls were actually set to honor Derrick Rose Saturday night. But the cool thing about Rose was he made sure to say the night was about everybody, not just him. It's about me giving everybody that's in this room, everybody that was a part of the story, the journey, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's celebrating everyone. He also had like an emotional moment with his son.
I saw that.
Where he was talking about he said, like, even if I tell my kids, like, if I'm slacking at home or they see me slipping, to ask me, are you being good? Are you being great? And he talked about like just living his life that way and how it's changed everything for him. And they cut to his kid, and his kid was getting emotional. His son's pretty young. He looks like he's like 7, 8 years old. Yeah. But he did also have a cool thing last week too, where he played in I don't know if it was like a exhibition game or what, but they played in the game together too. So that was pretty cool to see. Yeah. But Derrick Rose is one of those guys. I think when he got injured, it really it ruined his career, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This was a guy
who it was a really bad knee injury.
Yeah, it was not a good knee injury.
He was the youngest MVP ever.
Yeah, youngest MVP ever. I mean, this guy came out and everybody was like, "Oh my God, this guy is going to be the next." Do you
remember what college he played for?
I don't.
He played for Memphis.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I know this because he played in the national championship when KU beat Memphis, and they had to come back from like 10 down with like
to
3
beat
minutes
him.
left. Yeah. So they had to beat Derrick Rose in Memphis. That Memphis team was good.
Yeah, and good for Derrick Rose, man.
Yeah,
he was one of those guys.
He's a good guy,
I never really had anything bad to say about him because I always felt like he just went out there and played the game, did his job.
And he played hard, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, just played hard to the point it ended up taking his body to the record, basically.
Yeah. All right, let's get down.
We got Juice and Whistler, Blackcomb, Canada.
Oh, yeah, he's in Canada, I believe.
Hey, tell the Canadians we said, what's up, eh?
Grab some syrup for us.
Yeah, maple, please.
All right, we're going to run down. I'll take the Eastern Conference.
All right,
All
do
right,
it.
the Cavs are 31-4, best record in the NBA. Then you got the Boston Celtics at 26-10. They've kind of been hitting a little bit of slump. They're 5-5 in the last 10 games. Then you got the Knicks, 24-12, 8-2 in their last 10 games. Then at number 4, the Magic, 21-16. Number 5, the Bucks, 17-16 and 5-5 in their last 10 games. Then the Heat, even without all the
hubbub,
all the drama, 17-16 and 4-6 in their last 10 games.
Look at them go. Let's get to the Western Conference. We've got the Oklahoma City Thunder just continuing to win. They've got a 15-game win streak going right now, 30-5, sitting just atop the Western Conference. Behind them, the Houston Rockets, the surprise of the year maybe, 7 games back, 23-12. They are looking surprisingly well this season. Let's move to number 3, the Memphis Grizzlies, 23-13. Number 4, you've got our Denver Nuggets, 20-14, moving into 5th place. This is also kind of a surprise. The Lakers have been on a little bit of a tear. 7-3 in their last 10 games, 20-15, sitting in 5th place. And then last but not least, the Dallas Mavericks, who we just heard will be without Kyrie Irving for the next 2 weeks, possibly, with a bulging disc.
They're still without Luka, right?
Yeah, and they're sitting at 20-15. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games. So that is going to wrap up the NBA.
We might have to have old Robert Landon back from Houston.
Yeah,
talk about
we probably should. We'll have to hit him up soon because we got some time and we need guests.
That's
always and forever.
Yeah.
But yes, let's hit the NHL real quick. I'm going to fly through it because we got to get to the music break and then get on into our guest, Mr. David. So here we go. Okay. The U.S. tops Finland in overtime 4-3 Sunday night to repeat as World Junior Hockey champs. Teddy Stiga, the forward from Boston College, scored on a breakaway at 8:04 of the 3-on-3 overtime to top Finland. So the U.S. has a lot of good young up-and-comers that will be hopefully joining the ranks of the NHL here shortly.
That's awesome.
In other news, forward Frank Vatrano has agreed to a 3-year contract extension through the 27-28 season with the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. The Ducks announced the deal Sunday for the 30-year-old Vatrano, who is in his third season with Anaheim. He has 68 goals and 53 assists in 200 games for the Ducks, including 9 goals and 11 assists this season. But let's get to some bad news in the NHL. As the New York Rangers are in shambles, they're falling apart. Nobody knows what to do. The team has lost 16 of their last 21 games. They've basically gone from a playoff team fighting for the first position in the Metropolitan Division to now tied last with the Islanders. Nobody knows what's going on. Igor Shesterkin is out for the foreseeable future, and they're basically wondering, should we blow this whole thing up and start over or just keep plugging along? And at this point, it seems like they've got nothing left to do but to do it, unfortunately.
It's pretty wild how almost every New York sports franchise, Jets, Giants.
The Mets are doing okay.
Well,
they didn't do too bad.
The funny thing, though, is even when it comes to baseball, they'll make it very far by spending a lot of money, but they always choke, man.
Yeah.
And then, so then you got the Rangers. They're just kind of, they're good doing this.
Yeah. They are on one hell of a losing streak at this point. But let's run down the standings real quick. Eastern Conference, we've got the Atlantic Division. Toronto Maple Leafs are leading that one. 26 wins, 13 losses, 54 total points. In the Metropolitan Division, the Capitals continue their winning ways. 26 wins, 10 losses for a total of 55 points. Do you want to take the Western?
Yes, sir. Winnipeg Jets, 27 wins, 12 losses, 56 points. And then in the Pacific Division, the Golden Knights, always good. 27 wins, 9 losses, 57 points. And then I just want to give you an update on our Avs. They are 4th in the Central Division.
Yeah,
they got some winning to do.
They got some winning to do, but they're getting healthy. So we'll see if they can continue, although they did just lose their goalie for a while. So that sucks.
That's true.
But they also got another backup goalie. They're looking good. Let's get to the music break.
Well, before we do that real quick, I just want to touch on, since we talked about the Avs, some important news for Denver.
Oh, yeah. Let's hit this real quick.
They just paid $110 million for a fee to add the 16th Women's National League soccer team.
Yeah, the National Women's Soccer League franchise is the highest price tag paid in the league's history for a team.
Yep.
It's probably the most paid at this point for a women's sports franchise. But yeah, they just submitted the first payment, and they're basically going to come into a pretty legit setup here. I'm sure they're probably going to be playing out there at Dick's Sporting Goods Arena.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a good MLS team here. I think there's a lot of buzz going because they made it into the Cup this last season. They got knocked out, I think, in the second or third round, but they made a decent run, and they're a pretty good team. So they've got a good fan base here already on the men's side, and hopefully they can continue that with the women's side.
Yeah,
so
we might have to have a little more rivalry going in that aspect as well because, as you know, I think it was a year ago.
Mr. Mahomes.
Brittany bought the franchise for KC Current, and they did really well. They got to the semifinals this year, and they've got a really good team there. And Denver, man, when I was talking about my friend Rob and his son Finnegan, my cousin Patrick, we don't really share the passion for soccer, but the younger generation, man, they are really into soccer. And Denver as a whole, it's got a big soccer franchise here.
Yeah, so I'm interested
fan base.
I reached out to the Rapids to try and get like a media pass, and they actually reached back out, but I need to contact them again and be like, hey, let's get involved together.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that ends up happening. But yes, that is our soccer news for the
cool.
month probably, and maybe the next few months. But we'll try and keep you abreast of that when we find a name or whatever's going to happen with this team, because we don't know yet.
Oh, it's pretty cool that Denver added a team there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's get to our music guest break of this month. It is Meet the Giant. They are our new practice space roomies, so to speak. We all split a space together, us and 2 other bands, and they are one of them. They just moved in this last weekend. This is Meet the Giant off of their latest release, We Are Revolting, from 2023. The name of this song is Death Pasture. So give a little listen there, and we'll be right back. One more? Nope, that was
nice.
it.
All right.
Well, yeah, so that was Meet the Giants. They will be our music break guest this month, all month long. You can find all their stuff on Spotify, wherever you will be playing your music,
Yeah.
So make sure to give them a like and a follow. Meet the Giant. They are out of Denver. So let's get into our guest. Let's get David on the phone right now.
I'm down.
Get him on down to Chinatown. Here we go. Calling David. There we go.
Please leave your message for...
He'll be back.
I bet he'll call us back.
They always come back.
They always do. Might have been busy.
You never know.
I'm going to pull up the Chargers game cast.
Do it. Get that. Oh, there
we
we
go.
are. You
Told
knew
ya.
it. You called it.
Call from...
What's up, David? I just got you in there.
Hey, how's it going?
Skip that noise. What's up, man? How are you doing this Monday night? Black Monday, as they say.
I'm doing, Black Monday for some, not for me.
Hey,
Not this
not
year.
for any of us in the AFC West, aside from the Raiders, but everybody
Amen.
on this phone call, we're all sitting pretty in the playoffs this year.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
We're all pointing at the Raiders saying, ha ha, you suck, and we're all enjoying the playoffs.
As it should be.
So true, man.
Yes,
so
indeed.
true. Yeah, well, thanks for hopping back on. I can't remember. When was the last time that we had you on? It was before the season, wasn't it?
It must have been, but, man, I wish I could tell you. I'm so busy. I do 5 shows a week on my own show, and I've been on countless others, so it's hard to keep track of where and who I've been on a
Definitely.
show for.
So that's what's kind of
Hard to-
crazy. Now looking back at this, like we have all 3 of our teams, the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Chargers, in the playoffs. The AFC West represented well this year.
Yeah.
Exceptionally well. I mean, and I think I got to take my hat off to the Denver Broncos and their organization for, fighting through the adversity of the cap that they had to deal with the dead money and, figuring it out with a rookie quarterback. So my hat's off to them. I think they definitely earned their spot. I did not expect Bo Nix to be as good as he was, as quickly as he was. So I think that's a definite tribute to the coaching staff and their ability to develop and figure out what he does well and really accentuate that quickly in his career.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was nice to see. I think we were all a little bit surprised by it even here in Bronco country, but, we're happy to see it, and I'm definitely excited to see what this next weekend will bring, but, I don't have my hopes super high at the moment. We are playing one.
Yeah, not an ideal matchup, right?
No,
but, I mean, hey, anytime you get in the tournament, right, it's all 0-0s, guys. Like,
That's right.
That's exactly right.
Anybody can win on any given day, and you got to go scrap it up and go play.
Exactly. Any given Saturday or Sunday at this time of year.
Exactly. Yeah, my game's on Saturday. We're actually kicking off Wild Card Weekend, and I will be in attendance for that game.
Oh, cool.
I did see that.
I'm
You
much
got
looking forward
the day off from work so that you could
Yeah,
make it
I had
over
to do
there
some
to
lobbying.
Houston.
I had to sweeten the pot a little bit with some coworkers, but this is a once in a lifetime type of opportunity. And since I live in Texas, just a couple hour drive.
Oh, that's
and
perfect.
So we made it happen, and I got tickets right behind the Chargers bench. So, I mean, when I say right behind, I mean like row 2.
Oh, wow. Nice, man.
Whenever I do things like this, I do it big. It's all
Yeah,
about the
that's
memories.
the way you got it,
man. It's worth it.
Exactly.
Yep. And I mean, I think there's a real good chance. We'll get into it a little more when we dissect this, but I think there's a real good chance that you guys will knock them off. I mean, you guys are favored by 3 last I checked. They are slumping right now. Why don't you go ahead and just tell us, give us your take on how do you think it'll go?
Yeah, first and foremost, you can't go into this game overlooking the Houston Texans by any means. They definitely still have some talent on both sides of the ball. They have 2 edge rushers that have over 10 sacks each. They have a pretty good running back with Joe Mixon. Dameon Pierce has the ability to kind of take it the distance as he showcased against a really bad Tennessee Titans team. Nico Collins is a baller, but that's about it. That's the extent of it. They're having a lot of trouble on the offensive line trying to protect for C.J. Stroud. And also C.J. is not having the same type of year as he had his rookie campaign. A lot of ups and downs. And I mean, obviously that's, because, you're trying to find the right combination of weapons and offensive linemen alike. And with the amount of injuries that they've had to sustain and fight through, it's been an ugly product, especially down the stretch. They lost, in 2 out of their last 3 games to finish the season against a couple of playoff teams. And so that doesn't bode well. And I think for Charger fans, this is definitely the matchup they were looking for, that they wanted. And as soon as the Cincinnati Bengals kind of took care of the business against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was, all right, let's go. We got something to play for. Let's go get this 5 seed. Let's go sweep the Raiders, which was fantastic. Swept 2 out of the 3 of the division opponents this year. And, for this game, I like the Chargers' chances. I think they're playing exceptionally good football. They're starting to figure it out defensively, and offensively, Justin Herbert's been lights out in the month of December and going into January. They kind of opened up the playbook a little bit and said, all right, Justin, go do what you do. And lo and behold, they found really, really good success. I think they're definitely, I'm a little bit concerned about Rashawn Slater. He didn't play in the last game, and they have to get an MRI on the knee. So that's something to monitor going into this game. But even with that being said, I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I just think they have too much offensively. And if they get up on the Texans, I don't believe the Texans have enough firepower to be able to go blow for blow with the Chargers offense. And I think the Chargers defense, they've done a fantastic job of not allowing points all season long, as they are, finished the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. I think that's going to bode well for them, and that's why I have the Chargers winning. Justin Herbert picking up his first playoff victory.
I mean, I definitely think it's a possibility. The way Jim Harbaugh has turned this team around is pretty incredible. I mean, I don't feel like they had that far to go, but they definitely needed that leadership role, and he's stepped in and taken that, even though, we all know he's a little bit of a weird one. He's kind of strange, but the players have bought into it, and it's happened on every level, whether it's been at college or it was at the 49ers or back at Michigan or now here at, with the Chargers. And it's been pretty cool to see. And, like you said, Justin Herbert's looking at his first playoff win in a year that can, if you look at his numbers, is kind of a down year when you boil it down, so to speak.
I wouldn't say it's a down year. I think it's just a different type of year. I mean, this is a year where they did not ask Justin Herbert to be Superman and do everything. They in past years, the Chargers had no defense. They had no running game, whatsoever to speak of. And so this year, it's less pass attempts for Justin Herbert, but more efficiency. Justin Herbert threw over 500 pass attempts, had over 20 touchdowns, but only had 3 picks. Only 3 picks and over 500 passing attempts.
Yeah, I mean, that is the incredible thing, is the interceptions is just
unbelievable, right? His ability to protect the football while pushing it down the field is really what showcased his growth here. And also, I think as a personality as well, Justin Herbert was a lot more outspoken, a lot more boisterous, a lot more of the, hey, kind of look at me, I am a superstar in this league. And I think we have to give some credit to Jim Harbaugh for kind of cracking Justin out of his shell, because Justin is a very humble, very unassuming superstar. He doesn't really care for the limelight or the cameras. He lets his play do the talking. And the last few games, the talk's been very loud.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that unorthodox approach that Jim Harbaugh has, I think it really shows when you look at the advance and the improvement in, Justin Herbert. It's not so much his numbers are bouncing off the screen, but I think like you said, you'd rather see maybe a little bit less passing yards, and that translate to less interceptions and also more wins. And then also the other thing, I don't think Quentin Johnson would have had the year he had if it wasn't for Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he's a guy that really knows how to coach these guys up. I mean, the dude went off for 13 receptions and 186 yards. And you look at last year where, I mean, he had brick hands. He had a few of those drops this year for sure, but he's overcome that. And, I mean, you got to hand it to Mr. Unorthodox himself, Mr. Harbaugh.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about Coach Harbaugh is, yes, he's a great culture builder. Yes, he is a winner, and he has a track record that it allows the players to buy into him immediately, because he's done it at every level consistently everywhere. And, this is the type of coach that walks into a room and immediately has that magnetism with the players because of the respect for the track record that indicates that when he shows up to places, he turns them around in short order. And this was just yet another shining example of him stepping into a place that was 5-12 last year and immediately coming in and adding 6 wins to that win total and securing the 5 seed in the AFC playoff picture. And not only was he able to do that, but part of being able to do that was hiring the right coaches and not only having an eye for talent on the field, but having an eye for the coaching staff and the ability to find guys that can teach and develop players on the field as well. And I think the coaching staff deserves a ton of credit. The linebackers are way better. The defensive line was a huge liability going into this season. They were fantastic this year. I think, the wide receivers with Sanjay Lal, the wide receiver coach, they did just excellent work with, being able to repair QJ's confidence and also be able to use him in a way that he actually excels and stop trying to send him down the field on go balls. That's just not the type of receiver he is. And once they figured out how to accentuate his strengths, you started to see a player that was very much on the bust side in this rookie year start to blossom and really break out towards the end of the year. That confidence is something that hopefully will flow through into the playoffs.
Yeah, and you just look at what they did with Ladd McConkey as well. I mean, they turned him into the prototypical Swiss Army knife guy out there, and he's just making plays all over the field. And it was really cool to see what they could do with him, and especially when he went out there and excelled. He definitely added a big boost to the offensive side of the ball.
Ladd McConkey's a monster, bro.
Yeah.
And I knew it because when I was evaluating tape before the draft, I was like, this guy just knows how to get open. Like, he understands how to find the soft spots in zone, and he's such a crisp route runner. He's so precise. And he's so quick. Like, this is a legit 4-3 guy, guys. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, the separation is pure because his route running is so pure. Like, if that route's supposed to snap off at 7 yards, it's getting snapped off at 7 yards every single time. His footwork, his precision is the reason why he's able to create such separation and why he's so friendly to Justin Herbert, who's a guy that has the arm strength to hit you anywhere on the football field. That's why he had such a great rookie year and formed such a beautiful connection with Justin Herbert. And obviously without Ladd, this Chargers offense and this team is not where they are today.
No, I don't believe that they are. It's been a huge boost for them. But they've also been, running the hell out of the ball too. I mean, J.K. Dobbins has had a resurgence, so to speak. I mean, granted, I think a lot of his issues have just been injury related. Anytime he's healthy, The guy has been very productive. But they've kept him healthy and they've kept him productive all year long. And they're strong in the trenches, which is where you want to be. And that seems to be how Jim Harbaugh builds all of his teams. It's all about the trenches, and it works on every single level. When you can beat people up on the line, you're going to win games no matter what the skill level is.
Well, you got to be able to run the ball, guys. Like, it's a mindset. Like, it's the physicality in your approach. It's saying, hey, I'm gonna go get these yards. I know I'm gonna run, but I don't care. I'm gonna beat you anyway. I'm gonna bring in 2 tight ends that are more like fullbacks. I'm gonna bring on an extra offensive lineman, and I'm gonna impose my will. Like, and you have to be able to do that, especially in the playoffs when you got to run the ball to be able to salt games away. I mean, your margin for error is so small. And I think one of the weapons that the Chargers offense has utilized to such great effect in this year is the play action. And the play action would not be as effective if J.K. Dobbins wasn't a legitimate threat to take it the distance on every single touch. He's a guy that never stops the leg churn. He's always looking for more. And he's a guy that's shown he can break away and he can take it, to the house. So with that threat, finally giving Justin Herbert a legitimate running game has really allowed him and the play-action game to really flourish and open up those shot plays for the Ladd McConkeys and the Quentin Johnsons and the Stone Smarts down the field.
And Will Dissly being healthy has really helped out. He was on my fantasy team.
His best receiving year by far in his career. Will Dissly, an amazing year, a blocking tight end that Justin Herbert turned into a pass-catching tight end.
Yeah,
you rarely see that happen. I mean, it's tough to find tight ends that'll just block anymore, with the most of them being, glorified wide receivers.
Yeah, he's a throwback dude for sure.
Yeah.
And then you got that giant on your team. That's that redhead that's like 300 pounds. That's also
Scott Matlock. Yeah, man.
That guy, man.
Is it Scott Matlock?
Yeah, they took him and turned him into a fullback. He's a defensive lineman. He's a two-way player, and he's honestly, he was a little green in the beginning of the year, but as he started to get going, he was a real asset as a fullback, really opening up holes and springing some really big plays down the field.
He's a juggernaut, man. He's huge.
It's hard when you put a guy
that's the
back.
thing is, hey, it's all about the mismatches, guys. You want to try to find a way to, not allow the defense or give the defense something that they really can't combat. And so that's, hey, I'm going to take a 315-pound offensive lineman and I'm going to run it at your linebackers all day long, and I'm going to beat the hell out of them and really make you feel that you played the Chargers a couple of days after you played the Chargers.
Well, that's
exactly.
hardball football.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's hardball football. That's right.
Yeah. Let's circle back to the Rashawn Slater thing, because that was a question I was going to have for you. That one does intrigue me, because who he would be matched up against, if I'm not mistaken, would be Danielle Hunter, who had an awesome year. Yeah. Whether it be him or Jonathan Grenard on the other side, I believe, or excuse me, Will Anderson. I mean, that's a tough test. Who would be replacing Rashawn Slater, and are you confident in his backup if Slater's not able to go?
So what they would probably do is what they did in the last game against the Raiders, which is take their first-round pick, Joe Alt, who has played right tackle all year, and move him over to the left side, which in college he was the best left tackle in the draft, period. And it wasn't even close.
Yep.
And that definitely showed itself in his rookie year. Switching over to right tackle, a position he had never played before at any level, professionally or otherwise, Joe Alt was fantastic on the right side. It took him, he was a natural. I mean, he's a freak, 6'8", 6'9", gigantic wingspan, super strong, like unreal bend for a man that size. He switched over to left tackle against the Raiders and was phenomenal once again. I mean, nobody really got close to Justin Herbert. And then in that stead, obviously, that would mean that Trey Pipkins, the right guard who before this season was strictly a right tackle, would go to the right side and play right tackle. And I'm sure they would have some things where they would have some extra tight ends and running backs in to block and help on that right side. I think Joe Alt actually has already shown, even as a rookie, that he doesn't really need much help. He's already like a dominant pass protector.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, that answers that question. Yeah, and I mean, on the other side of it, when you guys are on defense, I really have seen, the Chiefs just played the Texans just a few weeks ago, and that team is just falling off. They have so many injuries on their offensive line. Their interior offensive line is just, it's so porous. I could imagine, the strong suit for the Chargers are their ends with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Yeah. So maybe they do something where they stunt them in and circle around and hit that weak point of that offensive line. I could see that being maybe one approach.
Oh, no question about it. Yeah, I think they're going to get creative. I mean, the Chargers have 4 legitimate edge rushers and guys that have some size. Like Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack are both kind of 260, 270, 280, 285-pound guys that they can put them on the outside or move them inside on a guard if it's a better matchup. They've done that. They've showcased that already. They also have Bud Dupree. They also have Tuli Tuipulotu, guys that, have 7 and 8 sacks respectively, to go along with Joey and Khalil Mack. And also, I think I got to give a shout out to Poona Ford, who, is a guy who last year with the Buffalo Bills was inactive for 6 games and comes in and is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league this year for the Chargers, and honestly a guy that's provided a little bit of push in the middle as well. So I think that might be something that they do some stunts in games with those guys. But yeah, I would not be shocked at all to see a Khalil Mack or a Joey Bosa moved inside to kind of work over a guard.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the defensive side of things, I did see inside linebacker Denzel Perryman is questionable. Any word on if he's going to be available, or is it just a nick, or is he injured, so to speak?
Well, he's been dealing with a kind of a soft tissue injury, and he was out for 3 games, tried to come back, re-injured himself, missed most of that game, missed this game with the Raiders, and we'll see. Well, I mean, that's going to be one to keep an eye on throughout the week. Hopefully the extra rest would allow him to get on the field. He did practice in the limited participation late last week, so we'll see if that carries over this week, because Denzel Perryman is a tone setter for the defense. He's a guy that has real stopping power at the linebacker position. When he hits you, you go on you stop. You stop what you're doing, you get on the ground. He has that type of power. That's what he's always been known for, as just a a guy that can really see the hole, hit the hole, heat-seeking missile, and really, put people on the ground. He's a tone setter for this defense. So I truly hope he's able to suit up and go on Saturday.
Yeah, he'll be key in trying to stop Joe Mixon because with all of pretty much the Texans wide receivers being out, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, they're very limited on that. I'm sure they're going to rely heavily on Joe Mixon.
No question about it. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something they want to do. They want to establish that running game. That's going to open things up for Nico Collins and obviously, their tight ends in the middle as well. I think Dalton Schultz is his name. So they got a couple of guys that can definitely do it. But I guarantee you they're going to be allocating a lot of resources to stopping Nico Collins and kind of forcing the Texans to try to find a way to run the football, which I don't really pay attention to the Tennessee Titans game because, they suck. But outside of that, they were very inconsistent running the football. So
you mean the Houston Oilers?
The Chargers are, yeah, exactly. Chargers are decent, stopping the run around the middle of the pack. If they're able to do that and really kind of take away Nico Collins, I think it's going to be a long day for the Texans offense.
Yeah, that's kind of been the formula ever since Tank Dell got hurt in that Chiefs game, is everybody's just been piling on for Nico, and there's really not anybody else that kind of can step up. John Mechie has been decent, but then he just got a little banged up in that last game, so I'm not even sure he's going to be available for this one.
Yeah, concussion protocol is what I heard on that one.
Yeah, that's always tough to know what's going to go on there.
Yeah.
Well, man, we don't want to keep you too much longer, but we know you're picking your Chargers to win, and so is Vegas at this point. But if you had to give me a score right now, what do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, so I think the Chargers offense has kind of done a really good job of putting up 30-plus points in about 3 of their last 4 games. I think that's something where I'm looking at them doing a little bit less than that because it's a playoff game. Things are going to get ratcheted up a little bit. But I think I'm going 28-17. Chargers get the win.
That seems pretty likely.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think the Chargers defense is just going to be too much for this beat up Texans team at this point, and their offense is going to outscore them. So I think you're probably right around there. At least a touchdown.
I hope so, man. I'm going to be in attendance, and if they don't get the win, it's going to be a lot of money.
It's going to be a really sad walk out of there.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad night. But no, honestly, this is the matchup I was hoping for. I was kind of praying for it. They're the most vulnerable team in the AFC playoff picture. But the Chargers need to understand they got to take care of business. They can't overlook the Texans. They got to take this very, very seriously. Go in, do what they've done all year, which is beat teams that are either reeling or are bad teams. I think this is a team that's been reeling. They have all the momentum. I think they're going to keep that momentum and go straight through the Texans on Saturday.
Well, I hope they do for your sake since you're going to be in attendance. But if, in fact, the Chargers end up making it all the way, maybe we can have you on in that off week or the off 2 weeks in between the Super Bowl if they make it.
Well, we'll see, man. One step at a time. We'll see what they're able to do. Yeah. But obviously, they're playing with house money here, guys. This is the first year of Harbaugh, already in the playoffs and already improving 6 games on the last year. Hey, I just wanted to see them get one playoff win for Justin Herbert so they can stop that narrative that he doesn't have any playoff wins and then try to keep eliminating them moving to goalposts further and further past as they go through the playoffs.
Exactly.
And if you guys do win, that means you would take on my Kansas City Chiefs in the next round. So, you guys always play us tough.
That'll be a matchup I'll very much look forward to, and hopefully it'll be full strength on full strength so we can really.
I sure hope.
Yeah, and if the Broncos win, we'll be taking you guys on as well. True. So there's a possibility either of our teams could be taken on.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I think the Buffalo Bills are a team that's shown this year that they can be beaten, although it's not.
And they will also put up 45 on you, and
exactly.
Josh Allen might kick a field goal.
We'll see what happens, man. We'll all be watching for sure.
Definitely, man. Well, David, thank you for joining us, man. We greatly appreciate it. We'll have to have you hop back on soon.
Sounds good, guys. Take care. All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, David. You have a good one. Good luck.
Later, man.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. That was a good one.
That is pretty crazy. Man, this AFC West.
Yeah, you could be staring at a AFC West 2 weeks here,
We might get an AFC West. Well, that really wouldn't happen. I was going to say AFC Championship.
A Super Bowl?
That would be wild. But been waiting for you to point it out. But this, Vince, how we had this guest on, and this is a new shirt. That's why I had to wear.
I noticed.
This
I
shirt.
saw it. I saw it while we were doing the interview. I was like, oh, he's wearing a 9-time AFC West champions.
Year on the back.
Okay, all right.
I
You're
was
turning
so
into the
pumped to wear.
You're turning into the Cleveland guy with all the quarterback names, except it's years that you've done really good.
Years that they've won in a row. But dude, I was gonna say today, man, this is gonna be a battle royale going forward, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Bo Nix is good. So you guys ate what was it, $53 million in cap space this year?
Yeah,
it wasn't
basically.
the full 89, right?
No, it's the 850 this year and then 30 next year.
Yeah. So,
and I think we're still 70 under the cap with that.
And then next year, I mean, the Chargers are just going to get better with Harbaugh.
Yep.
And we all know the Raiders are going to keep sucking.
Well, they screwed themselves. They're not going to get their quarterback of the future in Shador, so who knows what's going to happen.
And there's talks that they're going to bring AOC back.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not bad. I don't mind Farva.
Farva
but he
light.
ain't the answer. He ain't the answer. So I mean, I'm excited for this because, like, you know, when people bring it up to me like, oh, the Chiefs were, no, man, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Hopefully they might lose some. There's going to be games like that, just like yesterday.
Yeah.
But hopefully it makes them better. Yeah,
36-0. Woo!
Yeah, true,
hey, I'll take that going into the playoffs. But let's get into the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. John Daly. He's going to hit it hard, man.
Alrighty.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding
I'll have to look for David during the game, man. Second row, behind the bench. You'll probably see him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. We're going to be like, that was our guest.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hit it hard, man. All right, Chadley.
All right. I found out about this because of one of my favorite football analysts, Miss Jordan Rodriguez. She brought up this story in relevance to Saquon Barkley's pursuit for the record. And when it got brought up how he wasn't going to play, he kind of had a little bit of a wishy-washy kind of decision on it. He didn't want to do it, then slept on it, woke up, wanted to do it, but the team said, Nick Sirianni and the team said no. But he did have a really good response to it, very honorable. And this is the story that kind of shines on why he is so unselfishness. This is really cool. This dates back to when he was in high school. Penn State signee Saquon Barkley won the gold medal in the 100-meter finals of the Eastern Pennsylvania Conference Track and Field Championships last Wednesday. This is an article from 2015. But what he did after the race was far more impressive. 2 hours after his race, Barkley, a Rivals 4-star running back from Whitehall, Pennsylvania High School, gave his medal to Rachel Ponick, a sophomore hurdler from, man, there's a bunch of tough names, towns, Saquon, it looks like Saquon almost. Either way, Valley High School. After
Saucon, we'll go Saucon,
yeah.
Saucon Valley.
Right, cool, thank you. Saucon Valley High School. After a race she'd previously won had to be restarted due to a timing malfunction. Okay, then after a 30-minute rest period, the race was rerun. Ponick, however, was competing in another event and was unable to take advantage of the rest period. Damn, that sucks.
Oh, yeah.
When the race was officially run, Ponick clipped a hurdle and finished 8th. Barkley, who had never met Ponick prior to the meet, saw what happened and decided that she deserved a medal too. It's really hard to explain, Barkley told the morning call, but something inside of me told me it'd be the right thing to do to give her my medal. Honestly, I love winning races and receiving medals, but I felt she deserved it too. Everyone saw that girl win her race. This is just awesome, and it also kind of touches on, there was about a month ago when Saquon had rushed for 180 yards, I think, during his amazing year. He was sitting on the sidelines, and Nick Sirianni, being the
goober that he is.
Yeah, I was trying to think for the word. It was a great one for it. Walked over there and said, hey, you want to go back in and break? Because he was, I think, 10 yards away from breaking his career best. And Barkley said, no, man, let some of these young guys go in there and get some time and get some yards.
Yeah.
He is a very unselfish guy. It wasn't just because he was my fantasy running back that I'm a big fan of his. I've been a big fan of his since he was at Penn State. And a story like this highlights how being unselfish during sports and outside of sports really can do a lot to bolster up other athletes. And we see it where, because he didn't rush, all he needed was 101 yards in this final game. He decided to not fight it, sat it out, and watch. Whenever they take on the Packers here next week, who are slumping, there's a good chance that he's going to have a stellar game.
Yeah. And kudos to him on being selfless,
That's right.
I like it. You got to love a good old-fashioned, wholesome story like that.
It's about the team.
It's about the team, dang it.
Yep.
But, yeah, no, that's super cool, and let's see if the Eagles can get it done, because I think if they don't, Sirianni might be fired. So
it would be tough to say that, man. If you look at his record in Philly, I know that they're expecting results, and Philly is a cutthroat city when it comes to sports. But, man, he has the best winning record for a Philly coach ever.
Yeah,
even outside of Andy Reid and all those guys.
Oh, just in terms of percentage.
Because, this year they went 14-3. They went, I think, 15-1 when they went to the Super Bowl. He's got a really good record there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we'll see, but they're already not happy with him. So, but Philly also the fans threw snowballs at Santa one time. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's Philly for you.
Well, that's going to do it for this week. We are going to get out of here. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening. Next week, who do we have, Chad?
Mr. David Harrison. We're having a couple of repeat guests on. David's been on a couple of these different Davids. David Harrison was a Commanders insider, and he's going to be on next week. Talk about their playoff run.
There we go. But we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. We will see you next week. Chadley, I love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
We'll catch
Thank
you guys
Farewell.
later. Toodles.